Let's review.
Social studies. A popular belief that children are the parents' investment for the future hampers the national efforts for A. Enlightened occupational, B. Responsible parenthood, C. Professional development, D. Unified family. Let's learn each of these concepts. Enlightened occupational. The man behind this concept is Shlomo Gazet. He filled many roles during his military career, most famously, it seems, head of the Military Intelligence Directorate. However, his most notable legacy is designing the Israeli policy in the occupied territories as an enlightened occupation, a regime that aims to make Palestinians' daily lives as comfortable as possible, while staunchly suppressing any attempt at political resistance. As part of this concept, Gazet designed and developed several of the practices Israel has used, and continues to use, throughout the occupation, including expulsions and home demolitions. Next is responsible parenthood. Responsible parenthood is the ability of parents to provide for the overall needs of their children in order to become responsible citizens in the society. It involves the ability of parents to take care of their children and see to their financial, educational, social, emotional and material needs. It also refers to the duties of parents towards their children in order to prepare them for responsible adulthood. Professional development. Professional development means gaining new skills through continuing education and career training after entering the workforce. It can include taking classes or workshops, attending professional or industry conferences, or earning a certificate to expand your knowledge in your chosen field. Unified family. Family. Internally unified is essentially the interior bond shared amongst members in a united pack. Furthermore, family is essential to one's natural stability on becoming a morally respected human being in society. That means each individual member devotes themselves on becoming the natural support for continuous nourishment throughout one's lifespan. Therefore, when children becomes the parent's investment, it hampers the national efforts for B. Responsible parenthood. Filipino.
Mababasa ang mga kuro-kuro ng patnugot ng pahayagan tungkol sa napapanahong isyu sa A. Lathalain, B. Seksyong pangangalakal, C. Panlibangan, D. Pangulong Tudling. Ang Lathalain ay isang aktang batay sa misteryong sangkap sa pamahayagan na tinatawag na pangkatauhang kawilihan, isang pangyayari ng nakagaganyak sa atin dahil masasalamin natin dito ang ating sariling buhay. Kung ang balita ay tumatalakay sa mga mahalagang pangyayari, ang Lathalain naman ay tumatalakay sa mga kawili-wiling bagay. Seksyong pangangalakal. Ito ay pahina sa mga balita tungkol sa kalakalan, industriya, komersyo, palitan ng piso at pera ng dayuhan. Panlibangan. Ito ang pahina sa mga balita tungkol sa artista, pelikula, telebisyon at iba pang sining. Narito rin ang mga crossword, comics at horoscope. Pangulong Tudling. Ito ay kilala rin sa tawag na editorial. Sa pahinang ito mababasa ang kuro-kuro, opinyon, paninindigan o puna na isinulat ng patnugot hinggil sa isang napapanahong paksa o issue. Kaya ang tinutukoy sa tanong na ito ay D. Pangulong Tudling.
Science. Since most organisms consume more than one type of animal or plant or consume both, the transfer of matter and energy intertwine into the A. Food consumer, B. Food web, C. Food producer, D. Food chain. Consumer. Consumer is a category that belongs within the food chain of an ecosystem. It refers predominantly to animals. Consumers are unable to make their own energy, and instead rely on the consumption and digestion of producers or other consumers, or both, to survive. Food web. A food web consists of all the food chains in a single ecosystem. Each living thing in an ecosystem is part of multiple food chains. Each food chain is one possible path that energy and nutrients may take as they move through the ecosystem. All of the interconnected and overlapping food chains in an ecosystem make up a food web. Producer. Producers are organisms that can produce their own food. They usually include green plants. They trap the energy from the sun and use it to make food by the process of photosynthesis. All the other organisms depend on producers for food. Food chain. Food chain, in ecology, the sequence of transfers of matter and energy in the form of food from organism to organism. Food chains intertwine locally into a food web because most organisms consume more than one type of animal or plant. So the answer is D. Food chain. English. What results from contradictory emotional or psychological attitude? A. Ambivalence. B. Bipolarization. C. Ambidexterity. D. Bifurcation. Let's define each of these terms. Starting off with ambivalence. Ambivalence is the state of having mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone. Examples of ambivalence are liking a friend, but resenting them because they usually show up late and dominate conversations. Feeling curious about a new, elaborate roller coaster, but frightened to get in line to try it out. Or feeling bittersweet about graduating from school. Next is bipolarization is defined as the development of increasingly antagonistic groups in a population, where opinion differences between groups intensify and positions between the two extremes of an opinion spectrum are over time increasingly sparsely occupied. Bipolarization of opinions has puzzled researchers for decades, particularly when opinions vary continuously, such as the degree to which voters are in favor or against a political agenda. Ambidexterity is the ability to use both the right and the left hand with equal ease. Lastly, the bifurcation is the point or area at which something divides into two branches or parts. Example, inflammation may include the bifurcation of the trachea. We can now answer this question. And we can say that ambivalence is the result of a contradictory emotional or psychological attitude. The answer is A. Mathematics. The abbreviations sine, tan, sec for sine, tangent and secant, respectively, are Albert Gerard's, as using common logarithms in measuring the intensity of earthquakes is to A. Alexander Bell. B. George Dantzig. C. Johann Kepler. D. Charles Richter. Let's find out who these names are. Alexander Bell. Alexander Graham Bell is most well known for inventing the telephone. George Dantzig. George Dantzig is a mathematician who devised the simplex method, an algorithm for solving problems that involve numerous conditions and variables, and in the process founded the field of linear programming. Johann Kepler. Considered a pioneer in astronomy, Johannes Kepler is best known for his 3 laws of planetary motion. He described how planets move in elliptical orbits with the Sun as a focus, how a planet covers the same area of space in the same amount of time no matter where it is in its orbit, and how a planet's orbital period is proportional to the size of its orbit, its semi-major axis. Charles Richter. Charles Francis Richter is a seismologist who developed the Richter scale for measuring earthquake magnitude. So the answer is D. Charles Richter. Follow our social media for part 3.